Paint Misbehavin takes paint where it's never been before.
Did you feel that heat just from that?
Absolutely.
Steve and his merry band of paintsters tried to build the cop car of the future, hoping to change the face of law enforcement with the flip of a switch.
Light them up.
But before they do that, the team and their fireproof paint get a baptism of raging fire, Hollywood style. They're taking paint where it ain't, one stunt at a time, on Paint Misbehavin. This is Steve, and he makes paint. But not the kind of paint you can buy at the hardware store. His paints do things you would never believe. He's got a new company, but Steve's done a lot, from effects on some of Hollywood's biggest movies, to pimping out celebrity cars, and working with cutting-edge tech companies. Arup, the scientist. He's been creating paints and coatings for over 30 years. Steve may have the vision, but Arup's the one who puts the chemistry to it. Sam and Benny, the brothers. Sam is the manufacturer. It's one thing to design paints that do all these wild things, but if you can't produce them, then you're going out of business fast. Benny is Mr. Fix-It. He can build anything, take it apart, and then rebuild it again. Derek, the money guy. He only cares about two things: how much will it cost, and how much will they make. Robert, the connector. He knows everyone, and if he doesn't, then he knows someone that does. When they started the company, they knew they only had enough capital to last about a year. That was about a year ago. So if they don't make a splash with one of their paints today, they might not be here tomorrow. In other words, one failure and they're done, out of business. Monday, team meeting. One of the biggest challenges of being a cutting-edge paint company is that no one knows what paint can really be made to do. So this is the time when the team plots out how best to get their products out there.
A lot of the problem with what we make and what we do is we can come up with really cool things here, but how do you get it out to everybody to see it?
The fireproof paint, Inferno, is one of their newest technologies.
Wow.
Steve shows the team a primary test of Inferno on a piece of cardboard, just to demo what Inferno can do.
Nothing burns.
No, it just chars.
Inferno, our fireproof paint,
Can apply with a roller or a paintbrush and literally stop fire. It actually builds a char and pushes the fire off the surface.
Wow.
Inferno paints, it creates a barrier coat, and the fire cannot penetrate through the barrier coat to hit the substrate, and that is how it protects it.
Try that to here.
Yeah.
Dang.
Wow.
My house, your house.
We need a huge stunt to show this off.
The team is well aware that in the United States, there's a fire-related death every 3 hours, and fire causes more than $15 billion in property damage a year. So the sooner they get Inferno on the shelves, the better. Derek knows that if they want to sell Inferno worldwide, they have to get the fire department on board first.
So we were out there at John's the other day playing with all those Molotov cocktails. I'm thinking, what a better place than frame up the wall there and then burn it with a flamethrower.
Steve's friend John is Hollywood's go-to pyrotechnics guy. If you want to burn something or blow something up, you go to John.
We can roast some weenies on this one, huh?
So let's do the stunt. Frame up the house, let Benny burn it down, or try to burn it down.
I'm burning.
We play with a lot of technologies. We come up with a lot of things. This is a practical coating. Something like Inferno actually saves lives.
So that is the plan. Frame up a wall, paint it with Inferno, the fireproof paint, and then blast it with all of John's fire toys. Steve wants to make Inferno more appealing for home use, so he asks Arup to try tinting it.
Looks pink.
Yeah, it would be pink.
I need a red.
But you started with a lot of white. If you want to get the red, you have to start with a clear. And moreover, The red is not fireproof. So you are deviating from your fireproof qualities.
Because I was going to say, why don't we just add more red? Eventually it screws it up.
Eventually it screws up the whole thing.
It's more important that it's fireproof than that it's red.
Yeah.
Derek tells Steve the fire department has committed to the demonstration, but the problem is it has to be in 3 days, or they can't do it at all. Inferno needs 11 days to cure, so the fire department coming in 3 days is not good. Steve asks Arup if he can make a faster curing Inferno. The secret to Inferno is its charring capability that forms a barrier against the fire. If the paint doesn't fully cure, then the charring attributes are useless, rendering Inferno as flammable as any ordinary household paint. While Arup tinkers with the Inferno formula, the rest of the team has nothing to do but wait.
Hey, brother, is that the same knife you used to open up cans of paint? Shouldn't you use like a fork? I got a plastic fork.
I don't like plastic.
I got Doritos you can dip.
No,
You
got
sure?
the taste, yeah.
You're an ass.
And finally, Arup comes up with a faster curing Inferno. But the only way to test it will be on John's wall, with the fire department watching.
I got my guy at the fire department that will come out for sure.
Water truck.
It'll be big.
Benny just wants to burn it down.
Yeah, well, I'm worried that Benny might be successful.
I'm excited to see the fireballs.
You tell John we're coming yet?
Yeah, he's excited. John's got some toys out there like you've never seen. From rocket launchers, flamethrowers, mortars, there's all kind of stuff to shoot at this wall. An all-out assault on Inferno.
Steve doesn't want to tell Derek that they are using an untested formula. Steve has no idea if it'll work until he is at the test site.
Derek's gonna bring the fire department. John's gonna bring the toys. This should be an event.
With the fire department on board, the team heads out to John's to prep the wall.
And we've got a whole variety of stuff here to show you.
Let's have a look.
All right. Did you feel that heat just from that?
Absolutely.
We'll do a bunch of those and they'll be aimed.
What we're gonna do now is we're gonna get all the guys to get out the Inferno and paint this wall.
We have people to frame up the walls. We have people to apply the paint. So, one, I'm not really happy to be out here. This is not where I want to be today.
Is he lazy and doesn't do any work? Yeah. Derek basically doesn't do anything and just kind of like rides the waves on the rest of us.
Missed the spot.
Shut the up.
Right up. Keep going, yeah.
Hey, bitch, shut the up. I ain't kidding. You.
Yeah.
Never a dull moment. It got a little ugly.
Right before the test of the new Inferno formula, Sam and Derek go at it. This is the last thing the team needs.
He doesn't seem to understand a lot of things. There's two ways of explaining it. I tried the first one. I guess if you don't get it, we'll have to go to the second one.
Coming up, an all-out assault on their fireproof paint.
Good.
And Robert's worst nightmare comes true.
So you telling me you want to take my baby and turn it into a cop car?
When Paint Misbehavin' returns. Inferno Test Day. The new Inferno is about to debut in conditions more extreme than a California wildfire.
Did you guys get a chance to test that new Inferno? Get a roof worked up?
I didn't actually test it, but, well, it dries. Definitely dries to the touch.
We're gonna go pelt the wall with, I don't know, a few thousand gallons of fuel. I think we should have might have tested a little bit.
I'll just keep my fingers crossed.
In normal circumstances, Inferno needs 11 days to cure. But the fire department doesn't live by Steve's schedule, so Inferno will have to work on only 3 days cure. Not the best beginning for Inferno's biggest test. Steve's friend John at Ultimate Effects has quite the arsenal of pyrotechnics.
John's got some toys like you've never seen. From rocket launchers, flamethrowers, mortars, there's all kind of stuff to shoot at this wall. Inferno will live up. I'm not worried about the wall.
Steve tells Derek about the new cure time. He is not happy.
If Steve had told me it takes 11 days, I definitely would not have set up the fire department.
We're out here today because Steve says this paint, the Inferno, doesn't burn. We don't believe it.
Steve's 100% certain that this is going to work, but my confidence level isn't that high. This is way too risky for me.
And with the fire department on site, there is no room for error.
I need everything ready to go right now. Fire in the hole!
The flamethrower generates more than 1,000 degrees of direct heat, but the Inferno chars up just like it did back at the shop.
That was hot as hell.
Yep.
That's a perfect example of what an untreated piece of wood does with a tool like that. And I knew he was about to hold it up against the house. I got a little concerned.
You're okay?
About to find out.
As the demo continues, the fire department relaxes, realizing that they probably won't be needed. Steve sees this as a good sign.
That was just 1,200 degrees.
Amazing. The wood's not even charred. It's just the top layer of the paint.
I can't believe we took that up to like 1,200 degrees, and I instantly wiped my hand on that wall.
But John is about to turn up the heat, literally.
We still got our air arc here. If we want to take a look at some sparks blowing against the wall. We took what we call an air arc. We're burning the carbon arc rods that went through like half-inch steel plate in less than a second.
John, this literally liquefied that steel.
It just blows a hole right through it.
Amazing.
We were blowing them against the wall with the paint, and it was bubbling up and building a barrier right against the sparks of the arcing rod. We were able to literally blast this wall, and it did not penetrate through the paint.
You can always count on one thing. Benny will have a huge smile on his face if he gets to burn something, blow it up, anything with an act of destruction. Benny's gonna be in his heyday. I convinced John to come on the back side of the wall with me, and we sat down and played a little game of cards. While the boys went ahead, blasting away at the front of the wall. Just to see if he could get me to run out from behind it.
We blew 3 massive propane mortars completely around this building. I was totally at ease being back there with that, knowing that this paint product is on this house.
Yeah! Burning Steve's ass, that was the best. The paint held, and we had a good time doing it.
What? Whoa. Not bad.
Impressive. It's just black, but most of that's soot. We could scrape that right off.
Should we try it?
We didn't do anything to the wood.
To be able to put the fire that we put into this building, and then within a matter of seconds be able to put my hand right on it, that alone really blew me away.
After that direct flame impingement on the wood at such a close proximity, I thought to go up there, there'd be a lot of charring, alligatoring, we call it, on the wood, and rubbing the ash off. The wood just as pristine as it was if you get it from a hardware store.
We're gonna probably repaint this shop here with Inferno right away.
So they pull it off, and with the fire department's endorsement, they could get Inferno in stores within a month. That would definitely keep them in business. Not to mention, save lives. Coming up, the team takes on its biggest stunt yet.
Man, you kidding me? An undressed unit to a fully dressed marked car?
And Derek and Sam have to go to opposite corners.
Stop! Speaking of stopping,
Sam,
maybe you should go over there.
When Paint Misbehavin' returns. With the success of the Inferno demonstration, the team hopes new orders would soon be coming in. However, in the competitive world of cutting-edge paint, it's never a question of what you do today, but rather, what will you do tomorrow?
So where are you off to? Up to the studio. Gotta make some real cash here.
Bank account's getting low. Maybe we're putting all our eggs in one basket with the Inferno. Maybe we need to show a couple more products or get some other things going on at the same time.
I need something that's a little more wow.
What are you thinking?
The thing that's real pop in the line is probably Heatwave.
One of our original products, Heatwave, where you actually use thermal heat to change the paint. What's the stunt? What do you do to get their jaw to hit the floor?
Since everything else out there that's similar is decently small, I gotta do something big.
I'll go work on it. See what I can come up with.
Sounds good.
Most definitely the coolest technology by far. Nothing makes people's jaws hit the floor like when it does that.
Man, just wondering what we're gonna do with this thing, man.
That is just too cool.
Yeah, we gotta do something big, Steve.
How's it going? Playing with the heat wave. Coolest thing we got, bar none.
Heat waves of paint that uses thermochromatic technology to change color when exposed to heat. It's an amazing product, but the team is stymied by how to best show it off.
Oh, wow.
Just from the heat of your hand. Trying to figure out what to do with it. You like this? It reacts to temperature. So I got hot water over here.
Oh, wow.
Instantly goes white.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Steve recently hired Kristen to help organize the office. She's a welcome addition to the team.
I had no idea that paint could do anything except dry.
Sometimes we forget just how cool these technologies are. And when you get to show it to somebody for the first time and see their reaction, that's where the payoff is.
Oh, that's cool.
But just as quickly I can put it back black, dipping it in coal.
It actually looks like it could be a cop car. The front, and then there's the hood and the back. And it looks just like a car, cop car.
A cop car. We show her our new paints. She takes one look at it and she says, "Yeah, it looks like a cop car." Light bulb went off.
What's the value in doing a cop car that can change colors?
Man, are you kidding me? An undressed unit to a fully dressed marked car?
How are you gonna do that?
Maybe current, heat, the color change cop car. Look at this. I like the cop car. Thanks.
I do what I can.
Keep doing it.
I think it's pretty cool that I had an idea. You know, maybe they'll give me a raise.
This could be one of their most impressive stunts yet, using their paint that changes color to actually transform an undercover car to a marked police unit with the flip of a switch. Just like with Inferno, the team needs to impress people with their cloaking cop car stunt. Robert has a hookup with a retired police detective who actually sells vehicles to police departments across the country.
Sean,
Hi, nice to meet you.
Well, we got a project going on.
Okay.
Looks like you got the perfect start right here.
Perfect.
I'm gonna make a unit transform from an unmarked to a marked unit at the flip of a switch.
Okay.
Rob said you had all this out here and that maybe we'd be able to spot something that we could use or convert easily. We stand a lot to gain by impressing Sean with this project. He could literally help put into play a cop car that switches from an unmarked to a marked unit. You actually use vinyl on these instead of paint?
Generally, yeah. The badging usually will be vinyl stickers.
Wow,
that's interesting.
That's a cool idea right there, man.
Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah.
I might use vinyl instead of having to paint the actual door first. What classifies it as a marked unit?
Well, a marked unit typically will have door badging. We'll have 9/11 stickers generally on the fenders or on the trunk.
As soon as we start putting it together, you should come down to the shop and check it out. I think you'd be blown away.
Yeah, I'd like to check it out. I wish I would have had something like this when I was a detective.
Sneak up on somebody and flip the switch.
The market is obvious. A vehicle that could be both an undercover car and a marked cruiser would save time and money. If they impress Sean, the cloaking cop car would find its way into police squads across the country. So, until Steve finds a car, it was back to the drawing board.
Man, Sean was the perfect hookup. I was just glad to find out I can wrap the door with vinyl.
What do you mean as far as vinyl wrapping?
Well, if I put the vinyl on the door first with the graphic, I can paint back over top of it with heat wave or...
Heat wave? Don't you need water to kind of make that change? Or?
There's other ways. I mean, if I can put enough current through the door, I could change it that way. I'm not sure exactly how to do it, but...
We just got to get the car, we got to wrap it, and we got to put some paint on it so that it changes colors.
Ultimately, we got to figure out where we're going to get a car. I cannot afford to buy a Charger, though.
It's not like we can just pull it from our backside, you know what I mean?
There's the money, guy. This is a money issue. We got enough to worry about.
Absolutely.
Sean, Robert's police hookup, needs to see the cloaking cop car by the end of the week. Steve has only 4 days and 2 huge problems. No car, and no idea how to actually change the color. In the lab, heat wave works when dipped in hot water, but that isn't very practical in the real world. Steve thinks he can use electricity to initiate the color change, If this works, it would be perfect for the cloaking cop car.
All we gotta do is put a little electrolyte on here. So the way we're gonna replicate our color-changing pigment for the door is we're gonna take a piece of copper, and I'm gonna use an electrolyte and put the pigment on top, and hopefully if we pass a current through it, we should see some color change.
That's the pigment.
And a little pigment. Yeah, rather not dump it all over. The anticipated effect on this should be about the same as our heat wave product, to where instantaneous change as soon as we put some current to it. Now, if we give it a little current, I should see something.
It's a little dry.
Think we need a little more?
Yeah, put some more on there. Get it wet. Yeah. At that point, it should be passing, right? Is the battery new,
I
or?
don't see much of anything.
Let me grab a rope, see what he thinks.
Yeah, go get a rope. So I did everything as we planned. Nothing happened.
You got a problem. It is not going through the pigment. The current is going underneath the pigment.
Turns out we're not passing the current through the pigment itself. Arup said the way I set it up, what I was doing is simply passing the current right underneath it. The current's gonna take the path, the least resistance, and go straight through the copper. How do I get it to go through the pigment?
I'm not quite sure.
So using electricity to change the color is out. And with the clock ticking, Steve needs to think of something, and fast.
I knew the first person that was gonna get on me about a failure was Derek. He doesn't like to hear that something didn't work out.
As with any startup business, especially one that's, pushing boundaries like this, there really isn't room for us to fail.
And it's not a failure, per se. So it's a setback.
Coming up, Derek gets himself in hot water.
It ain't black. What color is it?
Green.
What do we do?
When Paint Misbehavin' returns. Steve is really feeling the pressure. He promised Sean the cloaking cop car by the end of the week. However, he still doesn't have a car, and his test to change color with electricity just failed.
By the way, it didn't work.
What the hell do you mean it didn't work, Steve?
We tried the electrochromic test. No luck. As soon as I tell Derek there's a setback or something goes wrong, things get a little heated. We can get in each other's personal space relatively quickly.
What are you gonna do?
Figure it out.
We got a lot riding on this one.
It'll happen.
You sure?
We're just not gonna be able to go with the paint.
Well, then what do we go with?
Don't know yet.
Honestly, I worry all the way up until it's executed. And until it's executed, everything's on the line. These little failures sometimes lead to bigger failures.
It's just not gonna happen the way we thought it would.
Sure.
Failure's not an option.
As a company, they try to do the biggest thing possible to get noticed. But sometimes the smallest things are most rewarding. A friend of Steve's introduced him to Robbie, a kid suffering from cerebral palsy, riding around in a beat-up wheelchair. Steve hopes he can help him out.
How's it going, Robbie?
Hey.
Good to see you. Doing all right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Just tell me about what you're into.
I dig movies.
What movie?
Faster and the Furious.
Oh, yeah, Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
He loves the movie Fast and the Furious. His eyes lit up as he described the cars, the paints. We're gonna do something really special for Robbie. We're gonna do you a nice chair.
This chair? This one's old.
Hey, we're gonna get rid of this one.
Finally, thank you.
No problem. We'll get you a really good one. Brand new.
Okay.
Steve wants to get Robbie a new chair, even if he has to buy it himself.
Kristen, got something for you. I met a kid who's got cerebral palsy and he's in a wheelchair. His chair looks horrible. What we're gonna come up with is tricking out his chair, making it look all cool, and I need to get you to get online, try to find a wheelchair manufacturer maybe that wants to donate a chair for us doing it.
Oh, that's really sweet. It's good to do charity because I wouldn't really do it on my own. So it's nice when someone kind of puts you in that position where they're like, hey, do something nice, and then you kind of realize how good it feels. A free chair?
Well, you'll probably find a company willing to donate a chair when you tell them we're gonna redo the whole thing, make it all kind of cool colors, and present it to the kid. He's about to graduate, so we're gonna try to make it coincide.
Okay, I can do that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep.
We know Robbie's graduating soon. I had Kristen get a hold of him and find out the details. It'd be great to make this coincide with that. However, it's another deadline.
Steve still doesn't know how he is going to make the cloaking cop car work. He knows he can make color change with heat, so why not just go back to that? Instead of passing electricity through the car's metal, he would just heat the metal. Arup has two passions, paint and basketball. And every chance he gets, Arup tries to sell Steve on the virtues of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Not only it is a team sport, if you are living in Los Angeles, you must love basketball. Try it. You love it.
Hey, Steve, can I talk to you for a sec?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going back.
No problem. I'll talk to you soon.
I'm Kristen. He's in his own world, I guess, you know, science. He's very science-brained. I don't know which side of the brain that is, but it's one of the sides. So I called basically every single place I could find to get a wheelchair donated, and no one was really willing to go forward with it.
So the one thing Steve thought would be the easiest, getting a new wheelchair for Robbie, just hit a snag.
Kristen ran into a little problem trying to obtain the chair. A little bit of sweet talking, people usually come around. I'm not sure who to ask for, but I have a project going on. I'm trying to do a wheelchair for a kid who has cerebral palsy. Got a hold of the people at Carmen Healthcare Products. They were more than willing to help out. We're really gonna make this chair one of a kind.
Things are looking up as Derek finds the perfect vehicle for the color-changing cop car.
Black car, you love it? Took me forever to get this thing.
It ain't black.
It ain't black. What color is it?
Green.
Look at the registration.
Come here.
Steve.
Look down that side.
Black.
See the highlight? We're making a black and white, not a green and white.
Yo, what's up, man?
Like the car?
Yeah, it's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
Look black?
Yeah.
Why don't you look right down that rear quarter? You see the green highlights?
I saw it was green. You know, it had a tint of green going down the side. I didn't believe it at first, but at the same time, green is green.
Yes, it's black as a base coat, but it has a pearl shot over top of it that's green. It's a pearl black.
So what do we do?
You either make a Forest Ranger car or you figure out where I'm gonna get a black car.
Coming up, Robert takes a hit for Derek's screw-up.
Is it just clips or what is it? It used to be clips.
And tensions erupt on the job again.
What am I apologizing for?
That's not cool.
Standing there doing what I'm doing? I wasn't supposed to paint. I'd already walked
Run in
off.
your mouth.
When Paint Misbehavin' returns. With everything coming down to the wire for the cloaking cop car, the team suffers a setback when Derek brings them a green car instead of a black one.
So what do we do?
You either make a Forest Ranger car or you figure out where I'm gonna get a black car. He may get on me about failing with the copper, failing with the electrochromic paints, and there's a deadline, you gotta do it. Meanwhile, who's got time to sit around and wait on another charger?
Was your ass got on too tight? Squeeze the eyeballs?
And so what's our options, man?
All I need is a black car. Go over there.
I nominate
He
Rob.
picked your car.
He approached me, talking about he wanted to make my truck a police car. It's insane. So you telling me you want to take my baby and turn it into a cop car?
There's a lot of departments out there running the Escalade right now. It's a sharp-looking vehicle, and it's pretty intimidating when it's black and white.
Rob's the newest member of the team. Everyone's made sacrifices in the name of the company. Rob is about to make his.
On the door, I'm gonna vinyl wrap it and then put the heat wave over top. Okay. As soon as I heat the door, logo appears. I'm also gonna try to hide a little light bar to where you can barely see it. Everything will pop up. Right on. And then go totally back to normal. Is it just clips or what is it? Used to be clips. The worst part about stripping Rob's truck was he was standing there watching us.
Hey, y'all know that that's an Escalade, right?
It's kind of like a surgery, Rob. I don't recommend you watch. Just wait in the waiting room and, somebody will get you when she recovers.
I know what these guys do to cars. My eyes turn red, my head start hurting, my chest start getting tight. Talking about putting a hole in the side of my door, I can only say one thing. The last guy that crossed me, I'll leave it at that.
Steve asked me to find a way to heat the doors. So a couple of different ways to heat the door.
Wait. Hold up right there. Did you say a way to heat the door?
Well, it's thermochromatic paint. We got to heat up the door so that we can get the color to change, right? So I told Steve, take a hot plate apart. I'll work that into the door. Kind of like work it out something similar to this.
We needed the heating element to change the physical temperature of the door. And I told Sam, go find an element. Find something that's going to heat up that space. He came up with a rather ingenious little idea.
I'm not cool with that, man. I mean, this is, you're acting like this is the Waffle House or something, bro. This is my door you're talking about, man.
You said it was cool to heat up the door.
Yeah, but I said it was cool, but I didn't say it was cool to throw a bathroom heater inside the door, bro.
You know what? I thought about that, and that's the reason I didn't pick the bathroom heater. I went into the kitchen appliances.
What's happening?
Steve, man, you hear what's going on here, man?
Just going to do exactly what I needed to do.
When we're done, I'll make you some pancakes on it.
Everything is finally coming together. They could use Heatwave, the paint that changes color when heated. They have a black car, and now they know how they're going to heat the exterior with a flip of a switch. Once they figure out what they want to do, the team has to ask Arup if it'll work. And he sees things in a strictly scientific way.
We are all experimenting with the theories.
Arup's a mad scientist. Sometimes I don't understand what he's saying, so later on somebody will come by and explain it, dumb it down for me.
Without the experiments, you cannot, be successful.
This is what we're coming up with.
If you have already done that, why you are asking me?
Because you might have a different idea than us four bozos standing around a table.
For Arup, the world is pretty black and white. If you want to know if something will work, you have to test it in the lab first.
Well, what do you want to do, put some heat wave on here?
Hell yeah, put some on.
We just need a swatch right across it, right? In essence, you feel like you're wasting a lot of time. Ultimately, you're learning along the way.
Are we live? Give me a second.
We know it can change the temperature of the paint if it's touching it. I think if we lift it up, it'll radiate the heat more and it'll actually heat that.
It's hot.
Yeah, it's starting to glow red. I'd say it's warm.
Just as they hoped, the heat wave works. As soon as it gets warm, it turns clear, revealing the metal below. So Steve knows that the heat wave works, but the team only has 2 days to get the cop car ready. Robbie is graduating from high school soon, and Steve really wants the chair to be ready for him by then.
What about the discs?
Alumiluster.
Probably gonna leave the front wheels alone since they get a lot of action. Let's pull it out and get it powder coated black. It'll be able to take a beating, be with them for a while. Let's get it apart then. I'm sure we'll think of some more stuff as soon as we dig into it.
Doing the chair pieces is going to be interesting. We're going to do Alumiluster on the clear plastic parts. They kind of make it going to look like a racing hubcap. On the fenders themselves, we're going to use the Imperial Chrome, which is a full-on 100% chrome finish. And it's done by using a series of chemicals in water. By applying an activator and a rinse, and along with the chrome itself, we get a 100% mirror finish in a matter of seconds.
Time is of the essence right now, so they are working on the chair in one part of the shop and the cop car in another.
Check the door.
Steve is concerned that the hot plates might not get the doors hot enough to enable the color change. But the great thing about Heatwave is that Arup can set the temperature at which the color change occurs.
I tried everything. I started with the electrochromic pigment. I was going to make the paint.
Now, it did not work because the current was going underneath the pigment. It has to go through the pigment.
Right. So now we're back to heat wave.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking if we go with a lower temperature heat wave, I can control the change much better.
I'll try it.
Perfect.
Get out of here, Steve.
All right. You handle it then. See you in a minute.
Don't bother me while I'm working.
It's crunch time. They are down to 2 days, and they still have about a week's worth of work to do.
As soon as we can vinyl up the vehicle, get it looking like a police car, Then I'm gonna put heat wave over the top, turn it back to a black truck. The vinyl we're gonna put on the side of the vehicle is a lot like a contact paper. It's got a really low tack adhesive on the back, so it's easy to remove. I'm gonna have the vinyl printed with all the logos on it, and I'm gonna paint right over top of that.
Steve's definitely in his element. He works extremely well under pressure. He's not somebody that takes no for an answer and believes that he can do anything.
So we were on the truck till 3 in the morning, trying to get it right, trying to get a good match on the door. The issue at hand is the heat wave is a transparent black pigment, and I'm putting it over top of a white base in this case. So you're gonna get more of a gray than you would have if you were using a solid opaque black.
We're definitely not on schedule. Because nobody's done what we're doing before, it's impossible to anticipate what's coming up. The cost financially, the cost to morale. I mean, we have to succeed at everything we do, or we're better off not trying it.
We gotta put the heating elements inside the door. Then we're gonna mount up the elements, wire them all. We hit the switch, doors change color. Mike came down from Sound Off Signal and brought his wiring guys and his tech and hooked up all the lights and got it working and came up with an ingenious way to swivel the light bar and actually make it go from the length of the truck to sideways. While the light bar is mounted lengthways, it looks just like a satellite receiver on top of an SUV, so we smoked it out black and you hardly even notice it's there.
Steve knows that the one thing the team couldn't afford is dissension.
Hey, bitch, shut the f up.
So he asks Derek to apologize to Sam for the fight at the wall.
We're cool from the other day, right? No hard feelings?
No, we ain't cool. You need to apologize to the whole team.
Yo, I pulled you to the side. I don't know what your problem is, Sam, for real. Like, I can't take you to the side as a man and say no hard feelings. It's a job. You're the one that lost your cool. What am I apologizing for?
It's not cool.
Standing there doing what I'm doing? I wasn't supposed to paint. I'd already walked off.
Run in your mouth. That's what you did.
What did I do?
All right. Now it's going the wrong direction.
I don't
Here's
understand
the deal.
what the problem is.
We're gonna have unity, or we got no.
I don't know why you're mean mugging me, for real. Like, this should be grown up. I pulled you to the side. I said no hard feelings. We doing a job here. What's the problem, for real? Why are you hating on me? You don't even know what I do.
Stop.
You don't know what my job
Speaking of
is,
stopping,
Sam.
maybe you should go over there.
What I learned about dealing with people, they only respect two things, and that's money and violence, so.
Coming up, will the drama between Sam and Derek derail Robbie's chair?
I don't need that kind of drama.
And it's time for the cloaking cop car to get battle tested.
Get a lot of tagging right over here?
All the time.
When Paint Misbehavin' returns. As the deadline rapidly approaches, the situation goes from bad to worse. The team is coming apart at the seams, and Steve still hasn't mastered the heating elements for the color-changing cop car.
So there's a lot of pressure on the situation, and sometimes things come to a boil. Needless to say, tensions are rising. I could really do without all this drama, because your ass is on the line just like everybody else.
Yeah, but I
So he's looking
normally
out
I
for you.
wouldn't even be out there, Steve. I'm in the office.
It's not a normal situation. Last thing we need, though, is somebody sitting around going, oh, you missed a spot. Oh, what about right there? What about right there? That's smart ass. But you knew you were ruffling his feathers, and at that point, I don't need that kind of drama.
Listen, I thought we squashed it.
I think you tried, but it doesn't look like it worked too well.
With all the drama back at the shop, Steve wants to focus on doing something good. They present Robbie with his new chair at his job, and his mom invites his whole class to join in the fun.
What do you say, Robbie? What do you think? Like it? Got a little of everything on here. Check it out. I even put a cop light on the front. Check it out. See that?
Wow.
Just grab it right in the middle.
Thank you.
Oh, when I heard Steve was going to do this for him, it was such a blessing to us. He really needed a new chair, and it'll be great for him to have this fancy new chair for his graduation.
I love the fact that as soon as he was in the new chair, he looked over at the old one and said, take that thing out of here. He was the center of attention. People were taking pictures and everybody lining up and just wanted to be around him in the chair, and I thought that was great.
Steve rushes back across town to check on the cloaking cop car. Bad news.
Sam was extremely frustrated. He was blowing fuses, he was tripping breakers, he was trying to figure out how he could keep a constant power to heat all these heaters at the same time. He was a little frazzled when I showed up.
I didn't get a whole lot of time to get on the truck to start wiring because of wrapping it, painting it, and all the rest of the process. So by the time I got on it, that's when I realized we had a power issue.
Because I know I don't have enough heat to actually change this door.
That's when Steve decides to turn up the hot plates as high as they could go and tap into the car's heating system to circulate the air. If this doesn't work, well, they are quickly running out of options.
The door was actually 400 degrees, and we had smoke coming out of the inside of the door at one point.
And to make matters worse, Sean, Robert's hookup from the police department, would be at the shop in a matter of hours.
I haven't even had a chance to see this thing work. Sam tells me it's a slam dunk, but the fact is, the first time anybody's gonna see it is when he sees it.
Everything is down to the wire. By the time Sean shows up, the team still has no idea if they can pull this off. The team's big test could turn out to be a big bust.
Looks perfect. So what do you think? Looks pretty good, huh?
That looks great. It's amazing.
I say we go out and play with it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Shock some people.
Sean takes them to an area that he knows has a lot of tagging activity. The graffiti is so bad that the property owners have to repaint their walls almost every day.
Get a lot of tagging right over here?
All the time, all the time.
It's like an open canvas on both sides of the street.
Yeah, you can see up here where they painted over across the street.
Oh, yeah.
Look at those guys coming.
They don't even have a clue. So I really had my fingers crossed, knowing all the bumps in the road that we had cleared to get there. Victims.
So they sneak up on them in mid-tag, a perfect moment to show them what the cloaking cop car can do.
Light them up.
Drop the spray can.
Figure if you're gonna have a car change into a marked patrol unit, what a better place to pull it off than the local donut shop.
It's one thing to impress Sean, but Steve wants to see how someone right off the street reacts.
This is some way out. The patrol car and the lights are gone and it's disappeared. They ready to take somebody to jail.
Today when I saw the car transform from solid black to black and white, I almost didn't believe it. I wasn't sure that they could pull it off, but with the technology and the process that he applied to the car, it was overwhelming.
Hit the lights.
I think what Steve's done with this vehicle could definitely be a secret weapon for law enforcement. Did a great job.
Sean is certainly impressed, and he wants to include the cloaking cop car in his upcoming catalog.
No, I haven't heard it yet, but I'm waiting on Derek to come up and give me at least a little pat on the back and a, hey, I didn't think it was gonna happen, but congratulations, you guys pulled it off. I think it's coming.
So the team did it. Despite the rocky road fraught with all the drama and wrong turns, Inferno would save lives. Robbie graduates atop a shiny new wheelchair, and the cop car of the future is now a reality.
So, did we nail it?
Yo, it was a total success, man. Congratulations.
We had a lot of setbacks, a lot of issues came up, but in the end, we pulled it off.
At the end, like you said, man, we all rallied together and made it happen.
In the end is where it counts.
We worked as a team.
Here,
That is
here.
the most important thing.
There's no stopping us. We get over the little quarrels and everything else.
I like those.
One day your dream will come true.